What's up, guys? Welcome back to Turf Wars with Chase and Josh. We're finally finishing up the series covering all the teams, all the divisions for the 2023 NFL Draft. On the last division, the NFC West. Haven't we didn't really pick the order, any particular reasons or anything, but we're kind of ready to get the draft talk over with and get into the fun stuff with talking about quarterbacks and preseason rankings and just fantasy and all that kind of mess. So I say we just jump right into it, man. I'm gonna screen share real quick. All righty. You see it?
Yeah.
All righty. So first team we got up, man. Cardinals. Um, I'll start it off honestly. I think they had what? How did the trades work when they were picking? Because they were
They got the Texans next year's first, which could be a top five pick.
so they went from pick 3 back to pick 12,
Then
right?
back up to pick
And then
six.
back up to pick 6.
Yeah.
Um, I would love to see like what exactly, did they end up, profiting from these trades? So like Cardinals draft day
Trade.
trades. Here we go. So um wish it would just so the Texans, they went from number 3 to 12. What did they get? Can I guess it's just not
Uh,
gonna tell us.
I know they went from 3 to 12 back up to six,
So it
and they
says
got next year's.
with this deal, they added a top tier selection in the second round of this draft, and they also added a future first to move back to 12,
Yeah.
which is a huge. I mean, that's awesome. That's a huge haul.
Oh, it could be Marvin Harrison Jr. next year.
Yeah, it could
Is
be.
what it could be.
If it ends up
Yeah.
being a top, 3 or 5 pick. How do you really see the Cardinals going that low?
Oh, it's the Texans,
Oh, Texans pick. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, a
but
lot of people
but
had
with Kyler
Cardinals
Kyler
going first
Murray's
overall
gonna
pick.
Kyler Murray's gonna be out for like half the season. If they're 1-7 after that, why not just tank?
Yeah,
Trade Kyler Murray, get Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Marvin Harrison Jr.
yeah.
Reset all the contracts.
So they profited a first and a high second in this draft and next year's draft. And then with the other pick with the Lions, um, he moved back just 3 spots. Let's see. Huh. What was the other pick?
I think it's just like I
So they
think it
gave
said
up
it
a
was a second round
2024
pick.
first to move back up to 6, I guess. So they really just profited. They went um, they went from 3 to 6 and gained a top.
First.
Well, no, because they had to trade a first to get back from 12 to 6.
Yeah, they must have had another late first though.
Well, they that means they had 2 firsts next year, so they traded one of their
I know,
2024.
but all the mocks now still showing them show them having two top picks like in the top five
Oh,
next year. So I think they might have like a late first, which might would have been with like I think they did a trade with Kansas City for somebody.
yeah.
I think they did. I think they did a small trade and ended up gaining like a late first.
But they profited and only moved back 3 spots. Um,
Yeah,
and they get, a lot of people's first tackle off the board. So Paris Johnson was, I'm pretty sure I had him as my first tackle. He was either him or Skronsky were my two favorite linemen overall. Um, and I was a little upset with the Ojulari pick because I thought the Panthers were going to go Ojulari for the edge. And when they passed him up and I saw him go to Cardinals, great pick for them. I was, like I said, as a Panthers fan, I was really hoping we got Ojulari, but and Garrett Williams, good corner. What was the other kid from Syracuse that he played alongside?
I forget his name. I do. I
Oh,
love the Garrett
Witherspoon.
Williams pick though.
Witherspoon.
Yeah.
It was him and Witherspoon.
No,
Garrett,
no, no, no. Witherspoon was Illinois. I'm pretty
no,
sure.
I'm thinking Orange
Yeah.
Schools, dude. But
I know.
Garrett Williams, I liked him a lot in the third round too.
Yeah, I did too.
And
I like
then
Owen Papo in the fifth.
yeah, yeah, from Auburn,
It's a pretty
good
good fourth
picks.
round pick.
I didn't really have any least favorite picks or anything like that.
I
I
think
can't believe they didn't go receiver.
I
Or
think Michael Wilson at Stanford could be pretty good.
I just couldn't believe in the first. They went
Yeah,
bottom of the third for their
I know.
first receiver.
If they knew they were moving off of Hopkins,
Yeah,
but that goes back to my point of maybe they're just gonna tank this year and trade Kyler Murray.
God, it's just so hard. Like they just paid Kyler. What are they
I
doing?
know, I
Like
know,
what's
but
they're
I think
kind of been
he had him desperate, like, but then he didn't play well this year and he got hurt,
yeah.
and now they're stuck with that huge contract. When if you have a top five pick, you can reset it, get Drake May, Caleb Williams on a rookie deal. You know, you by now they know what Kyler Murray is. He's not Kyler Murray has not lived up to what everyone thought he was going to be.
I thought he was gonna be all. I mean, he's not bad. I
No, he's
think
not bad.
I
He's
think
middle of the
teams have
pack.
just kind of picked up on his game style. I mean,
Yeah,
he's the different a lot of Bryce Young talk with how small he is. Bryce Young plays quarterback a lot different than Kyler Murray does. Kyler Murray likes to run, and he's a great runner. He's built like a runner, and he honestly, he liked to run first. He's kind of tuned that down a little bit, trying to pass a little more, and turn into an escape artist instead of a scrambler. But I don't. It's like teams have just picked up on what he's doing, and you know, especially at his size, he's already fighting uphill. Teams pick up on what you're doing, it's kind of you're done for.
yeah.
Which like I said with Bryce Young, it's kind of the biggest fear with him. But he plays. I think he plays the quarterback position totally different than Kyler Murray does. Um, but I don't know what this team's going to do, man. I like the draft. I thought it was
Yeah.
a good overall draft. A lot of picks. Um, Clayton Tune, I was a little confused by that. Maybe they fell in love with him. 4-year starter at Houston. He's
Well,
who
they got to have a
knows?
quarterback. They got to have a quarterback to start the year too.
Yeah, true.
And
I think
if they liked him, then
here's
burn a
their
fifth
here's
on
their
him.
depth chart. They got Colt McCoy still.
Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of like they felt like they needed to do it.
Colt McCoy can win games.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to carry you to the playoffs, but he can
I
win a
don't
few
like the running
games.
back situation. James Conner's a good running back, but how much juice does he have left? Their
Yeah,
receiver
I've always thought he
situation,
was overrated.
their receiver situation is scary.
It's
But if
bad.
Michael Wilson at 6'2", what is he? 6'2", what?
Yeah,
6'2",
there was some
213.
decent hype on him
Yeah.
coming out.
Zach Ertz is a good tight end. They're man, they got Paris Johnson listed as a guard immediately. That's not a bad O line, you know. Um,
Yeah,
Dennis Daly, shout out, former Panther. But and then on defense, they've got some pieces, dude. They don't have much of a D line at all. Um, but their
they need a they
linebackers are
need
nice.
corner bad.
Yeah, they do. I like Marco Wilson, but Garrett Williams might be starting immediately. You never know. The team is not set up for success, and in such a weak NFC, this was an opportunity for them to, like I
Make the
said,
playoffs.
their first two picks. Those are impact players immediately. So
I like their first four picks. Oh, I
yeah,
like all
really, their
four of
first
them.
four. If
Yeah,
they walk away with four starters here, and who knows what John Gaines could be, on the O line, it's it's I think overall is a good draft, and I think I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it an even B. I like the draft a lot.
yeah. I think I'm right there with you. I think I'd actually give it a B plus.
Mm,
I
yeah,
think,
Ojulari where he
like you
went.
said, I mean, if you get three guaranteed starters and maybe a fourth out of Wilson or Owen Papo, I mean,
Yep,
that's solid.
yep. Well, this that team's gonna be a fun one to break down once we get into the team breakdowns and stuff.
They do
But
have did not love the head coaching hire for Arizona.
no,
Didn't love it.
no, he's kind of scared me a little bit. I don't
Yeah.
how awkward he was, dude, with all those videos coming out of him
Well,
dapping up the players and
and he's a defensive guy, and it's just like, are him and Kyler going to get along? Now, maybe if they know they may move off Kyler in a year, then maybe that's why they went that way.
Did they
But
interview
still,
Steichen?
if you thought, I think they did, but I think we swooped in and
Yeah,
signed him before they signed Gannon.
yeah.
But
Well, yeah. This
yeah,
team is. I don't know where this team
you would
is.
think though. You would think though, even if their plan was to trade Kyler after this year, they'd still want to go offensive head coach if they're going to draft a rookie quarterback next year. Now maybe Gannon is a Nathaniel Hackett. He gets 1 year and a see ya. But
Could be though. Out of all the coaches
yeah,
hired, who's the highest chance of going 1 year? See ya.
probably him.
Obviously Steichen first, but
Nah, probably Frank Wright. It's probably
yeah,
going to
right.
see ya.
Yeah, right. Not with that coaching staff, dude. No way. But
He'll be
yeah,
calling for his job when they're like 4-8.
no, 4-8. Listen, we got a rookie quarterback. He's got a long leash, so he's not unless he pulls some Urban Meyer stuff. Is I think he's gonna be set. He's safe for the year. But let's move on to the next team, man. With the which one was next? The Rams. So they didn't have a first round pick. I guess that was from the Stafford trade still.
Yeah, I
But
think
man, they had a lot of picks.
a
Um,
lot of
they had a
picks.
lot of picks.
Yeah.
My favorite sneaky one was Hodges Tomlinson, corner from TCU. Um, he's on the smaller side, but I think he can kind of fly around the field, and they're lacking a corner now. So without
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey, this team is arguably in more shambles than the Cardinals are.
I
They've got the
think
head coach figured out. They've gotten the quarterback sorta. Um, they've got Cooper Cup, and the O line is normally okay, but I think they had a rough year last year.
I think my sneaky pick would be Zach Evans in the sixth.
Think so.
I think he's
I
gonna be
was a
pretty
big. I
good.
liked him a lot at Ole Miss, dude. He when I was watching, Matt Corral got drafted last year, and watching all his, you just watching Ole Miss highlights.
Yeah.
Him and that other kid, I can't remember his name. It's like Puka something. Zach Evans was popping up all over the place. So, um,
I mean,
yeah,
given the sixth round, if he
yeah.
adds any value.
And running backs are, dude. I mean, Pacheco is the perfect example, man. Seventh round pick, and he ended up starting in the Super Bowl. You know, so
I sneaky like the Stetson Bennett pick too. I don't love Stetson Bennett. I'm not huge on Stetson Bennett, but I mean, Matt Stafford went to Georgia. Stetson Bennett just won 2 natties at Georgia. Obviously, I don't like the pick thinking he's going to start. He might not ever start in the NFL. He can be a good backup though. I mean,
yeah, you can't hate
decent
on
pick.
the shout out Appalachian State, by the way. Nick Hampton, outside linebacker there. Who knows? He could be competing for a spot too. You can't hate on Stetson's legacy at
Yeah,
Georgia. I mean, he's arguably one of the best, legacy wise, one of the best college quarterbacks ever, if you think about it. Um,
he's similar to Tebow in my mind.
yeah, a little bit.
Like,
He, I'll still take
just play
Tebow.
style, everything. Like I don't.
Yeah. I don't. Who's? Let's look at their depth chart.
They're in a rebuild though.
Rypien, Stetson Bennett. So he could definitely overtake.
The reason I like the Zach Evans though, from day one I thought Cam Akers was overrated. I've always thought he's overrated. Now the injury, you can't. If
Yeah,
he never would have got hurt, who
yeah.
knows? But
Well, I like the Avila pick.
I
I
love
think
the
he,
Avila pick.
I think he starts immediately. Getting him in. I thought he was going to go first round.
He was my
Um,
favorite guard in the class. Yeah,
yeah, getting him second round right there is great pick, great value. Um, Byron Young, I wasn't crazy high on him, but he's in the third round. Take a shot on him. He was one of the best players on that Tennessee defense all year, so good pick. Um, Wake
I like
Forest boy,
Jacoby Turner. Yeah,
yeah, Wake Forest boy. He's on the smaller side, but ends up being one of those pass rusher, quick D tackles. That'd be nice for them. Um, and then went with one of the Georgia tackles. Man, they could be having two starting. That could be their right guard, right tackle immediately. You know, So,
Yeah.
and that's in the second and the fifth round. So, and Davis Allen had a sneaky good year for Clemson. He was their best tight end really all year. Huge body dude, 6'6", 245. Um, watching on the Clemson game this year, he popped out a lot because they did not have receivers. So, um,
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't go
They didn't,
receiver sooner.
they didn't have a quarterback either.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But yeah, so not many highlights to watch.
I do like Hodges Tomlinson.
Yeah, Hodges Tomlinson, like I said, that's probably my favorite late pick, especially with they don't have any corners. So for them not to take any receivers or corners in the first, they had a second, a third, two-thirds, a fourth, and they didn't go receiver or corner. I mean, they were building the front, so you can't win without the
Yeah.
trenches. So that's what they did. But and
Yeah, you don't
obviously,
like to see wide receivers. I mean, they probably could have got Stetson in the fifth round.
yeah, I think Stetson could have fallen right there. But you know, it's another meh draft, but I think first three picks with how bad this team is. And then look at the D line again.
I think I think I'd probably rank it a C plus.
Yeah,
You
so they
know,
got
like we said, I didn't love every pick, but
yeah.
just the sheer volume is better than average.
They've already got Byron Young and Kobe Turner listed as their DNs,
Yeah,
which I mean you're playing with Aaron Donald, so they're getting one-on-one shot every time. So
yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
at corner,
Their defense looks rough other than Aaron Donald. You
oh
take Aaron Donald off this defense, it looks bad.
it
It looks
you take
bad.
Aaron Donald off this defense, Darion
It's the
Kendrick's a
worst in
good
the
corner.
league.
It's the worst in the league.
Yeah.
Um, but Darian Kendrick's a good corner. I think he was at Clemson and then transferred to Georgia. And then Hodges Tomlinson, those two guys might be your one or two right there. Um,
So
but
they're rebuilding now. They traded Jalen Ramsey away for a fifth round pick. I mean,
they traded it all. They got a Super
it's
Bowl.
what I no, it's absolutely worth it. If you told me we were going to do this tomorrow, go all in and win the Super Bowl, and then a year after we'd be rebuild, I'd take it.
Yep.
But I was surprised they didn't trade Stafford this offseason.
Yeah.
They're not making the playoffs with
And
this
then
roster.
and Cup, like what are we teams would sell their soul for Cooper Cup,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but it's kind of like you can't legally or actually tank, but there are measures you can take to lose as many games as possible.
Oh,
So
you didn't see? You must not have saw when we hired Jeff Saturday last year. We
you
legally
guys
tanked.
you guys successfully pulled it off. But yeah, this you take away Cooper Cup, Stafford, and Aaron Donald, this is probably the worst roster in the NFL.
It's
So,
bad, dude.
well, that's going to be a quick whether we do individual teams per episode, we'll probably do divisions again for the rosters, but that's going to be a quick episode talking about the Cardinals.
Who? Which team is worse? Them or the Cardinals?
Definitely this team. Definitely this team.
I think the
They've got some
Rams win
young
more.
talent.
I think the Rams win more games than the Cardinals next year.
Coaching, yes.
Well, you can't look at the Cardinals like they're gonna have Kyler Murray. They're not for the first minimum 8 games.
Well, is Matt Stafford playing?
Yeah, he said it's the best he's felt since coming to the Rams
Well, if
as far as health wise.
you take away Kyler Murray,
You just
just
put
look at
Colt
the rest of
McCoy
the
in there.
team. You still got James Conner, Hollywood, Rondell Moore, Ertz, a good O line, Collins, Isaiah Simmons, Buda Baker. I mean, that's a much better roster.
I know, but I would trust Stafford more.
Well, what's your grade for this one?
I said C plus. I said no one. I love the Steve Avila pick, and I didn't. Nothing else really like popped out like great pick, but just the sheer volume going to create some competition in mini camps and stuff like that. So C plus, better
Well,
than
they went
average.
with
Just with all the picks.
yeah. I'm gonna stick with a C plus. Almost went to a C when I just saw Ethan Evans, the whitest possible name you could pick
Wingate,
for a punter from Wing
Wingate.
It.
Yo,
But who
hold on.
knows?
What does that say? Click the description.
It says big
Evans is
kicker
a
with a strong
big kicker with strong leg.
what a review, what an analysis by however you say his name. But who knows? Hecker's gone. He's in Carolina now, so they need a punter. But I'm gonna stick with the C plus too, man. Let's go. Let's go to the next
Who's
one.
next?
Seattle. So I'll let you start this one off, man.
This was I pretty much loved everything about this draft class. I think it was my third favorite draft this year. They got my favorite corner and my favorite wide receiver in the draft. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. I love the Zach Charbonnet second round running back
Mm-hmm.
too. Seattle. It's like every year Seattle has a good running back, and they just draft another one in the second round.
They have,
It's like
dude. They have two good running backs. Kenneth
they
Walker,
had
DJ
three,
Dallas. DJ
three.
Dallas looked
Yeah,
good,
I know. D.
and
Eskridge plays some running back, doesn't he?
I think
Doesn't
so.
he do some like
There's another
handoffs
guy.
and stuff like that?
It was what's the guy that has always been Chris Carson's backup? Um, wasn't DJ Dallas. It was another guy.
But I mean, I like the Zach Charbonnet. I mean, their running back room is like really
Yeah,
good. Probably,
they took advantage. I'd say they took advantage of that Russell Wilson trade. They got Fant in the trade. They picked Cross. That same year at pick 9.
yeah.
Um, who else was involved with that pick or that trade?
They got their backup quarterback.
Yeah, backup quarterback. And was the Devin Witherspoon pick from the Broncos?
It was either that or it was the Jackson Smith and Jigma pick. It was one of those first round picks.
Dude, they got Tyreek Woolen.
No, no, it had to be the Witherspoon.
Yeah, it was.
Seattle made the playoff, didn't they?
They got
They were the
Witherspoon,
last team in.
Cross, and Fant from that Russell Wilson trade.
Yeah, no, they robbed the Broncos. They robbed
They
them.
did. I mean, unless Russ turns it around this year, which I think he will. But they
Ah,
they they got what they got their money's worth for sure. Seeing Kobe Bryant still right there as their third corner is pretty sick. But and they got Bobby Wagner back this year. That's a big deal. But I think they're going to be all right. I like this draft a lot too. Derek Hall, man, their first two picks, I was like, nice. Like they
yeah.
nailed it. And then they reached for Derek Hall right there at the top of second. I was like, no. Like with the players on the board, I couldn't believe they went with him. I did not have him going in the second round at all. I'm going to look at the rounds actually just to see who got picked in that same spot. Let's see. So Derek Hall went. You had Foskey out of Notre Dame, who was a projected first rounder. Ojolari, they picked Hall over Ojolari, who are both outside linebackers. Brian Branch still on the board. Mock from North Dakota State still out there for just O line in general. Um, I, John Michael Schmidt still out there. Some of those tight ends still out there. Even if they win another, which they don't need more receivers, but just more talent was on the board. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe they went Derek Hall. They kind of offset one of those first picks for me. But
yeah.
um,
You know why I love this draft class so much?
why is that?
It reminds me of another draft class. It reminds me of the Jets draft class last year, getting Sauce and Garrett Wilson.
Yep,
That's what
yep.
that's what it is. And
And
you
man,
know,
that turned that team around in 1 year.
I know,
It
I
turned that
know.
team around. You get, it's hard because it's like it's corner and wide receiver. They're going to end up being the highest paid positions on the field, but you, obviously the most important positions are quarterback and defensive end. You got to have a pass rusher. Got to have a
Yeah.
quarterback. That's why they're paid how they're paid. But man, corners and receivers are like you get a
You
Justin
you can
Jefferson.
never you can never have enough.
No, but I mean, if you get that number one corner and that number one receiver, I,
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson is the only reason the Vikings are relevant is because of him.
Well, think about this. They could have two number one corners.
Yeah,
Tariq Woolen
yeah.
was unbelievable last
And
year.
Kobe Bryant would start on some of these teams in the league.
Well, he'll slide into the slot.
Yeah, he'll play
He'll be
somewhere.
in him and Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen will be opposites.
And they still got Jamal Adams.
And they got Bobby Wagner right.
I mean, this team, that's why I've got Geno so high. Again, we're not going to talk about the quarterbacks yet,
See,
but
that's
that's why I'm
yeah.
all in on Geno, dude.
See, but from my viewpoint on that is if you put if I have my quarterback rank, if you put anyone above, I think they'd be even better. That's why I have Geno kind of ranked
But
lower.
that's
But
just a if. I don't know. That's a big if because we're looking at the rosters, the player, what the situation is for that player this year compared to other players in their situations. But overall, really good draft. Bradford was a good pick right there in the fourth. Can't go wrong with SECO lineman. Well, actually, you can because I think we went Greg Little, and I'm pretty sure he was from Ole Miss. Panthers took him second round, and it was a disaster. But most of the time, SEC linemen do pretty well.
they
Back to
got
back
Ryan
Michigan
Kelly.
picks
He's been
there,
solid.
but and they got McIntosh from Georgia. They went two running backs, man. Um,
The Seahawks always have a good running back room.
they do.
Always
They
do.
their run game. They're
And
defined
it,
by
and
their
it's
run game.
inevitable. It's inevitable every year. One of them gets hurt, and the backup comes in and looks like he's a new starter.
But
It happens every year.
man, you got if Geno Smith, Holton Ahlers is there, maybe.
Nah, he's
Holton
getting
Ahlers,
cut.
I
He's
forgot.
getting cut.
I forgot, man. He could
He
beat out
almost
Drew Lock. Come
Holton
on.
was almost beat your ass coming back from class one day. Do you remember that? He almost punched you right in the mouth.
What did I say? I forgot what
We,
I said.
we were walking by him, and I think we had lost like 4 games in a row. And he comes walking by us, and you just turn around, look at him, and said, "You're awful." And he just looked at you. I was like, "Oh my god!" It was hilarious.
Dude, he could beat out Drew Lock. You think so?
No, he can. No, he cannot. Hell no, no.
Nah, he could be that Taysom Hill though.
Yeah,
He can run the
yeah,
rock, man. But
yeah.
this
Well,
team,
now they've approved 3 quarterbacks you can have on your roster after the 49ers disaster in the playoffs now. So him as a third string,
yeah,
with upside, he's huge. Holton he's huge.
yeah.
He's a big dude. So
Well, this team, man, in the NFC, obviously I still got 49ers winning that division. We'll get into that. We'll get into that when we start talking about it. But I'm excited for the Seahawks, and with these first two picks they took, they just, I mean, they went Jets mode. So,
yeah.
like you said, that was a good comparison. I'm giving this draft because they got arguably the best corner and the best receiver. I'm giving it an A minus.
It's my third and final A of my draft class. So my A plus was the Eagles, my A was the Lions, and this is my A minus.
Gotcha. Well, this team's gonna be good, man. Like I said, and they still got Pete Carroll, man. He's a great coach. You can't undervalue how important longevity and continuity from the coaching staff and everything like that is. And these guys are walking into a loaded receiver room and an
I
already
think Russ
corner room.
I think Russ leaving picked up the whole team as well.
It
I think
it
everyone
seems like
rallied
it.
behind Gino and everyone rallied behind Pete Carroll. I mean, there's several former Seahawks players have came out and been like, "Oh, we're choosing Pete all day
Yeah.
over Russ."
Thank God that cornball's gone.
Yeah,
What was Gino's? They try to write me off, but I ain't right back or something.
yeah, that's what he said.
Dude.
I'm writing him off this year. I think.
Oh, I
I
can't.
still think they'll win. They'll still win 9 games, but
He looked too
dude,
good last
he's
year,
been in the
man.
league
He
forever.
was he was on fuego, dude. That man was lighting teams up left and right.
I
Uh,
know, but I can't. I mean, he's been in the league forever. I can't take the one season and say he's better than all these other quarterbacks.
wasn't
When,
Kirk in the league for a little while before he broke out?
yeah, but what I'm saying, this has been like Gino. That was like his first year starting in like probably 7 or 8 years from the Jets.
Yeah,
Like
and he's like 31 or 32.
Once Kirk got the job, he was the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he hasn't given it back yet. He was the starter in Washington for like 3 years, and then however long he's been with Minnesota.
yeah.
But
Well, I can't. I'm just we'll get into it. This team is going to be
yeah.
interesting, but let's move on to the last team for this division, man, and last team of the draft videos. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. They took a place kicker in the third round.
Yeah, I hate this draft.
There, this I want to throw up looking at this screen right now. The 49ers are so good. They've got arguably the best coach in the league. easily the best play caller in the league. These and this is what they walk from.
I disagree with that.
Well, Andy Reid is up there,
Yeah,
obviously,
I think Andy's the guy.
but you know what I mean. Shanahan is in the NFC. Shanahan is the best play caller. Um, unless Steichen comes out of nowhere, man, he looked good last
Steichen,
year.
yes, he did.
But you know what I'm saying. And for them, I couldn't believe it. This is
It's almost like they just took this draft and they threw it away.
which they gave us their second, their third, their fourth, and their fifth. Well, the fifth was next year, but their second, third, and fourth for McCaffrey. Which we turned one of those picks into Bryce Young. But we had an extra third and extra fourth because of them. But they got two extra thirds back from D'Amico Ryans and Raheem Morris.
Compensatory picks or whatever.
Yeah, for the compensatory picks. So they still had the picks, but I this was ugly. I couldn't believe they took a kicker in the third. Yeah, I'm gonna look at the rounds real quick. Let's see. So who did they take in the second?
They didn't have a second round pick.
They didn't have a second. They only had thirds. That's right.
Yeah.
So they went.
That was their first pick.
Brown with their first one.
I think he could be okay.
He could
I
be.
think Brown could be okay.
But Jordan Battle was up there. Darnell Washington's up there. Siaki Ika was up there. I like
Yeah,
him.
I would have much rather them went Jordan Battle.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is just which Josh Downs was gone at that point, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Hyatt was gone at that point. I mean, maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but they took a kicker. Like,
yeah, man.
Out of all the things you guys did,
Keely Ringo was still on the board.
Keely Ringo's on the board, dude.
Addy was still on the board.
Zavala's on the board at guard. Sal's up there. Yeah. I don't think we could really say much more about this draft class. It is. I mean, their team's going to be fine.
But they have probably a top 5 roster in the NFL.
Yeah, their team is going to be just fine. They still got Hargrave and Armstead. Which
look at their second string D line.
Yeah, Cleveland
Farrell, Kinlaw, Givens. That's their second string.
Their corners are struggling. But imagine putting Keely Ringo in there. Hufanga's a good safety. Gibson's, he's been a pretty good safety for a little while. They just got Hartsfield from the Panthers. He will play. That man is gonna in a better coaching system than Matt Rule and all that. He will get on the field and he'll play that nickel safety kind of line everywhere.
The problem is their roster's so good they have to pick and choose who they want to keep.
And they got Zane Gonzalez from us. Because we had Zane Gonzalez, we extended him for like a 2 or 3 year deal. He was great in 21 or 22, whichever. It was 21, I believe.
Well, that means he's cut. They're going to cut him if they took this kid in the third round.
Why did they trade for Gonzalez and then draft a kicker? Gonzalez is awesome.
Jake Moody must be the next Adam Vinatieri.
Moody must be the man. But this I'll let you give your grade for this one.
I'll give it a D.
This might be my lowest grade. I can't even remember what my lowest one. I know I have a D somewhere. This is teetering the F range. It's ugly. They got McCaffrey, so you got to take that into account. They got a top
for not having a first or second round pick. They had a bunch of picks, but
3 of them are one. So 6 of them are 5, 6, and 7s.
Yeah, I'm giving it a D. It's a D for me.
I'm giving it a D minus. This is closest thing to an F. I don't know. Latu could surprise some people, but
and that's what I've heard of that Robert Bill Jr.
Yeah. There's some guys that might surprise, but there is not a single name on this list that I'm like, that was a good pick. I'm excited about watching them.
Yeah.
And ESPN has all these guys rated in the 40s and 50s. So let's see what they had. Even Moody. Hey, he was
position
their
runner
number one
one.
kicker.
Yeah, he better be if you're taking him in the third.
Yeah. I mean, why not bring back Gold? Which it says he wants to play
Someone
closer
signed
to
him.
home. But
I thought someone already signed him. Maybe not.
which if Brown gets on the board, gets on the field, and he starts, and you get a kicker as a starter, and Latu's your
Yeah.
number 2 behind Kittle, there's 3 guys. But I'm trying to hype myself up over this, but just nothing.
It's just a bad draft.
Bad draft. Well, that is let me that is gonna wrap up. Man, we did 32 teams, all 8 divisions.
It was a
And
lot for sure.
it was fun having the guests on though.
Yeah.
Having Mike and Matt and RJ and Jones on for their teams, but I'm glad the draft's over because now we can move on to the
Now we
fun
can start
stuff.
talking about how Anthony Richardson's about to take over the league.
The turf wars actually begins now because you'll see. Yeah, well, the arguments will start to flow, but especially when we get to that quarterback episode. But we got quarterback episode coming up. We got all sorts of ideas. Preseason rankings. We'll go division by division with that, and maybe we'll like do a division and then do another.
We might just do like AFC one video, NFC the next.
Yeah, we could do that too.
Because we're not going to get like real like.
Yeah.
We basically went over the rosters and the draft picks, and now it's just more of what do we think these teams can do this upcoming year.
And then we'll do like quarterback, receiver, running back rankings, tight end rankings, flex. We'll have like 2 or 3 fantasy videos. Jones definitely wants to come on for the fantasy stuff. I told him he is assigned the fantasy guru, so he's been playing longer than a lot of people. But man, I'm excited. I enjoy going over the draft, but I'm excited we're done with it.
We're about to get into some hot takes.
Yeah, we are. And most of the hot takes are coming from Josh because this man goes out on a limb a lot.
My biggest hot take. I remember I think it was junior year of high school. We were in AP history with Sticks. Told the whole class. It was the year. It was a year after the Panthers. Or no, who was it? The Panthers after they went to the Super Bowl. I forget when it was, but I called. I was like, Panthers aren't making the playoffs next year. It was absurd. It was after Cam's best season, all that stuff, and then they didn't. It was like
Gosh,
one of
the Panthers have
the
never
craziest
had
hot
back-to-back
takes
winning
ever.
seasons. That's the easiest guess
I
ever.
know, but y'all only lost like 2 games that year or something crazy.
It's because Cam literally was Superman and carried one of the worst Super Bowl rosters ever.
Yeah.
That roster was so bad, dude. But it's okay. You're gonna have some more hot takes coming up.
Oh,
But,
I got them.
all right, man. Well, looking forward to it, dude. And if you guys watched all the way through, like, subscribe, comment, all that mess, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
See you.